BMW have absolutely had my pants down.
So if you missed my last video, this is my BMW E82 135i that we're currently doing a 1M conversion on. So that includes wide arches on the front, the back, a different bonnet, different bumper, front and rear, and a different spoiler and side skirt. So it's one hell of a project going on right now.
But there are some parts which, when I bought this kit, I didn't quite account for that I'm going to need. And to get those, I went directly to BMW. So because the 1M runs a wider stance, it needs a few extra parts underneath the car to make the wheel arch linings and things like that really tie in with those wider arches. And there's a few other reasons too, but because of all of these, I've had to buy all of these parts. So down here we have the collection of parts I'm going to need to finish off some of the parts on the E82 1 Series body kit. Here is a breakdown of what we've got. I have an E82 plastic under tray, so that's the same one that's already on the car, but I thought it was a good idea to get a new one. I have a BMW 1M washer fluid bottle. I'll show you the reason why I need this later. I have a 1M lower center grille. I also have a pair of side markers or wing indicators, side indicators, whatever you want to call those. I have an assortment of clips, screws and, well, everything else I'm going to need. I have a pair of E82M wheel arch liners, which is just for the front side of things. And finally, I have a pair of E90 M3, so that is the 4-door M3 rear wheel arch liner section. I do also have some more parts coming, but they're going to be here later in the video. So I'm going to make a start on the front driver's side, so let's get on with it. Yes, that's right, we've got a whole array of parts supplied by BMW that we need to fit on my 1 Series, and although all of these won't visually make too much of a difference to the car, it's all about the finer details, and getting these right will make the end product look so much better. So the first job to do was to take out the wheel arch linings so we could access the washer fluid bottle. After getting the wheel off, all you've got to do is remove all of the 8 and 10mm bolts in the wheel arch liners and then just pop off. So the reason why I wanted to start with this side is because this is where the washer fluid bottle is located, and the reason the 1M comes with a slightly different washer bottle is because of these side repeaters. There is basically no room for the 1M indicator to be able to clip into that, so we need to use a slightly slimmer washer fluid bottle in order to allow these new indicators to fit. So let's get the old one out. So the washer fluid bottle is held in by one 10mm bolt, and then it's just hooked on to a bracket further up in the wing. So then all you got to do once that's off is disconnect all of the hoses and the pumps, and it should be free from the car. So now we've got that out, you can see this is the old one and this is the new one, and there is hardly any difference apart from where I mentioned earlier. So this is where the indicator would strike the old one, and this is the new one where it's got a nice little recess area. You could, if you like, heat up the old one and then push it in that area to allow for a little bit more clearance. It wouldn't take much, but I thought, seeing as I was ordering so many parts from BMW already, let's get it replaced. So it is a very, very slight difference, and as I said, you could modify the original one if you were looking to do this a little bit cheaper, but it just seemed easier to buy a replacement, and then I've got a brand new one which I know is going to work perfectly for a long time in the future too. So now that we've got the new washer fluid bottle in and we've got that clearance for the indicator, I wanted to turn my attention to the under tray. As I said, I did buy a new one, which I thought was exactly the same as the old one, but it turns out it's not, which I'll show you why later in the video. But for now, I want to get the front bumper off so we can start looking at installing that nice new lower grille. As you can see, it is sort of in place because I did try fitting it with the bumper on, but it just wasn't having it, so it just seemed easier to pop it off. So it seems that it does actually fit a little bit better than I thought, and we were able just to pop it in place and then reinstall the front bumper as easy as that. Right,
someone tell me what the hell's going on, because life is never this easy. What is going on today? I must be like the world's luckiest guy or something. So anyway, that's the front grilling. Now we can get the under tray back on, get the new one on, and then try fitting up these new wheel arch liners.
So the first step of getting on the new arch liners is putting on the new under tray, which I thought was the same as the old one, but apparently it isn't. So as always, my luck's ran dry. There is no chance that this 1M under tray is going to fit with the replica bumper because of, yet again, the intercooler is just, it's not playing ball. So I'm going to have to modify my brand new part, chop the centre out of it, I can reattach the edges like that, and hopefully it'll all work fine. So out comes the angle grinder, chopping away at my brand new part, which isn't really what I wanted to do, but I need the edges of this part to be able to mount my new wheel arch linings properly to the car. So I'm going to put on the front wheel arch liners now, and we can attach those to it, and that should then mount to the bumper and be as good as it's going to get. Honestly, that intercooler has caused me a real pain in the arse. It just doesn't want to play ball with any part of that front bumper. So anyway, the new wheel arch liner goes on with all of the original fixing points as on the original arch liner, so that makes it nice and easy. And the rear section of the front wheel arch lining, as I said, that is off an E90 M3, and this is a bit strange because you'd actually have to remove the shock absorber to be able to mount this wheel arch lining because it goes around the suspension. So with a tactical incision, I was able to manipulate the wheel arch lining around the suspension rather than having to remove it.
Well, that was a tiring job, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of wrestling around with the wheel arch line to kind of cram it into place. It almost didn't want to fit, even though it sort of should. The only 3 bolts I've not been able to get in are the ones that run originally up the inner lip of the bumper, but obviously this being a fiberglass one hasn't got that, but it is not going anywhere. So I think we're good, And it looks, yeah, well, obviously it looks as good as factory because it is, so I suppose you pay for what you get with these things. Okay, so it's now a couple of days later, and obviously the under trays and wheel arch lines are all on, but I have had a bit of bad luck with the grille, which I thought I got away with, but apparently not. So although I've not lost it, it has come away from the bumper, so I think it's going to need better fastening, but the good news is it's not going anywhere because I can't even get it out, so it can just chill there for a bit until I have the bumper off next. So the next thing that we need to do is sort these indicators out. Now I've got more room behind this wing because the new washer fluid bottle's on. We can fit the new 1M indicators. So there's something a little bit strange with these that I've never seen before, and I got a few strange looks when I asked for it. So this is the indicator for the BMW 1M. It's specific to the 1M, so it is what it is. You've pretty much got to get it from BMW, or you can get some really expensive painted ones so they're black. But anyway, yeah, got these from BMW, but this isn't the only piece that you need to make these work. Even though they do plug and play in the standard car, you also need a indicator gasket, which just seems so strange to me, but they cost about the same as the indicator itself, but you kind of need it, and I want to try and do it properly, so I got these too. So hopefully these should be nice and quick to get on, and should be pretty hassle-free, so let's give it a try. Yet again, I was wrong from the beginning. I tried putting these in the incorrect way first. I tried mounting the gasket to the indicator, which is in fact wrong. So what you need to do is mount it to the car first and then try and push the indicator into the indicator gasket, or whatever you want to call it. So as always, not quite plain sailing, even with the mounting bracket, gasket thing, whatever it is. Doesn't seem to be going in too easily, and without it, it doesn't really seem to want to go in at all. It's pretty, you know, loose and baggy, not what we want. So yeah, let's have a bit more of a play with it. So even putting these in the right way wasn't too easy. Because the fiberglass wings are a bit thicker than the original metal wings, you do have to wrestle the indicator gasket into place and kind of bend it around the thicker fiberglass a bit more than what you would if it was a metal wing. So it does take a bit of fiddling to get it into place, and then you're able to clip in the indicator. Honestly, you could not write this. This should be such an easy job, but the hazards are going, and these are plugged in, but no one's home. Anyone in there? So maybe they need coding in. I think they're LED, so it must be. I'll have to go try and get some coding software on there and see if we can make these work, because that's a little bit annoying.
So yeah, a bit unfortunate about that, but I think it can wait till another day. But maybe you guys can help me out actually in the comments section if you know what I need to do with those to make them work. But now I've got an interior mod to do. So the last thing that we've got to do in this video is get on my new steering wheel. Check this out. This is a half carbon fibre, half leather trimmed steering wheel and a new carbon fibre centre to replace the peel and leather centre on the current one.
So although the edges of this one are actually not that bad, I think it's pretty common on these for the plastic, you know, rubbery coating to peel off the centre trim, which looks rubbish. And I know you can peel it all off, but I just think this is going to look so much better.
But before we start taking that off, we best disconnect the battery to avoid any airbag lights once the new steering wheel's in. So battery off, and then we can take the steering wheel off.
So now that's off, I've got to make sure the steering wheel is straight, so I can make sure that I put the new one on straight, and then we can start looking at getting the airbag out. Basically, there is a tiny little hole in the leather that is really tricky to see, but yeah, it's got a little slit in it. It's got enough room to pop a screwdriver in. You've got to fiddle around in there until you find the spring, and hopefully you can just clip the airbag out. So with a bit of a wrestle with a screwdriver, you've got to push the springs inwards in order to release the airbag, and then that will reveal the airbag plugs, which you can just pop off with a screwdriver. And then there's a few little bits inside there which you need to take off too. So there's a few electrical connectors in there to disconnect, and also as well there's kind of a metal bracket which controls the horn. I think it's 3 T30s to remove that, and then you can transfer all of that over to the new steering wheel before it's fitted. Once all of that's removed, you can then start looking at fitting the new steering wheel. Luckily, there is a small mark on the steering wheel and on the spline as well, which helps you line up the steering wheel perfectly straight. Once everything's connected back up, you can just push on the airbag and you're good to go.
Jeez! Wah, bah, bah. Oh, it's not black paddle, but still, jeez! Jeez! Jeez!
Got me now, loving you madly. Girl, you might be matching your body. She no even trying, she got it. I'll be here beside you, anything I got you. You know play, all you do is shut down the runway. Looking dangerous like a gunplay. They all wanna grab you, on you like a tattoo.
And just like that, the interior is transformed. With the steering wheel, I think because it's the area of the car that you touch the most and you feel the most, it makes such a difference changing it, and it's took years off the inside of this car. It doesn't even look worn anymore, so big win on that, well happy with it. It feels nice and chunky just like the old one, and looks absolutely bad boy.
So progress is now being made on the E82, and we are getting somewhere now. I feel like, you know, we're really getting towards the point where we can get some wheels on it, get some colour on there, and it should start coming together as a complete car, but it is slow progress.
But there is still so much to do. Obviously, we need some wheels. They're not filling the arches at all. I feel like they need to be an inch bigger and obviously come out so much wider to be able to fill out those new wider arches. And also we need to change the colour of the car too. I don't know exactly what to do with this because, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of liking the look of it matte black from the front, but I don't know, I'm not 100% sure to be honest with you. I don't know whether to paint it or to wrap it, so let me know in the comments down below which one you choose to do. And also at the back we need to sort out the exhaust. We need the quad exit to fit the diffuser that we've got that came with the 1M kit, but again it's not a straightforward bolt on a new exhaust job. There is more that needs to be done with that, so we'll come back to that in another video.
But that is all for this time. If you subscribe to the channel for the Aston Martin build, that'll be on the next video. But for now, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, like the video, and I'll catch you next time.